Good, actually afternoon. I was about to say good morning, but as it is 12:15 here, we are firmly in the afternoon. Here we go. I kind of match coconut today. I've got the white, the black, and the orange. Sharon, hello! Welcome to the stream. This is actually, I'm not sure how many years ago, but quite a few. Target pajamas. I loved them so much, and they are so soft and cozy. I'm just like, I wanted it just for the shirt. And I think the pants are still somewhere. I'm not sure where the pants are, but I know they exist somewhere in my closet, but I'm not sure where I stuck them because I never wear them. But I always wear this because it's just the most comfy Halloween shirts there are. Let me take that down a little bit because it is blasting in my ears. I've got my thing right here. I've been writing a series of I don't want to call them mirrors, like short form that I've got, like, you can kind of see it here. I've been doing some writing. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to wake you, my lady. Go back to sleep. That's right. Belly scratch. Oh, get a stretch. She's so warm. So I've been writing on that, and it's one of those where I think the idea is great, but as soon as I start writing on it, I'm like, oh god, this idea is kind of trash, it's cringy, but I'm gonna stick with it. And the whole idea is to make a series of webcomic promotions for the for Cozy Town that's almost like a travel blog. So, not a travel blog, but, you know, like kind of that general travel content that highlights an area or place that you can go, and the idea is like, okay, you'll save it. So I was thinking, why not do that, but framed around, well, places in Cozy Town, of course, but also the characters. Like, did you know in Cozy Town there is, well, here's actually one of the first ones. I was trying to do it around Coconut and Meowzilla, and I'm stumbling on how to frame the mini story. So I started off with, did you know in Cozy Town there's an imaginative kitten named Coconut with an alter ego that's larger than life named Meowzilla. I think that's too much. I want to frame it, I want to do something like, did you know in Cozy Town there's a little kitten that can help you if you ever feel scared or unsure of yourself? Something like that that is appealing directly to the stories that she's telling by becoming Meowzilla. Because what she's doing when she's imagining herself as Meowzilla is she's finding a way to combat her fears, to deal with things that she's not sure of, or, you know, just kind of, I guess, combating fear. But it's not always combating fear, but it's also kind of building herself up too. So I want to connect it that way. I want to connect it directly to the person watching, and something like that. And so that's the first one I wrote, and that's not even remotely close to what I want yet, but it's getting there. The idea is coming out slowly but surely. Slow but ugly, I guess, is what I would call it. Because I want to get readership up, and I want to, because so if you rewind several decades, you look at Snoopy, you look at Garfield, the biggest problem they had getting out, you know, getting their comics read was solving the syndication problem. You know, how do I get syndicated by a newspaper? Because that's where people read comics majorly. You know, aside from the, you know, traditional comic book, you know, floppies and, you know, that in the stores, people by and large read the comics in the newspaper and the Sunday comics. So how do you get syndicated by newspapers? And that was the issue. And I've listened to a podcast, Brad Geiger and another guy. They're pretty interesting to listen to, especially if you're trying to do anything creative, because I believe the topics they talk about can kind of go anywhere, but usually they're talking about webcomics, and they're dudes that were there for the kind of inception of the webcomic internet, and so they were there figuring it out when the traditional publishers were still trying to, get a handle on what's happening with this internet thing that had just come around in the late 90s, early 2000s, when the first webcomic networks. I remember there's something like that with the anime websites. It was like the Anime Web Turnpike or something, where it cataloged all of the anime sites. And that was a way a lot of people had gotten traffic initially. And things have kind of changed, actually changed a lot, especially with how Google has mucked up their search engine with the AI overview and all that good stuff. A lot of people that have had, their livelihoods based on their blogs and their webcomics, it's been disrupted because nobody clicks now on the top links. They go to the AI overview and that's all she wrote in general. I don't personally do that, but I know that it's a lot of people that do that anyway. So they're having to combat with, it used to be that you could hook up Google AdWords, you could get revenue in that way. You could hook on to other, what used to be a webcomic advertising network. Project Wonderful. Oh my God, I dug that out from about 15 years ago, maybe more than 15. But that was a legitimate way that a lot of webcomics got traffic. And so what I'm trying to do is solve the same problem, but for now. And, there's the possible solution of, doing the carousels on Instagram and TikTok, and that. Another solution, animating in some sort of a way. But it's interesting because I've been watching other comics like Beachy Mao. Beachy Mao is an interesting one because that one started off, I want to say about 3 or so years ago. Really got big on TikTok. And the format change was interesting because they went from carousels or pictures to, actually, no, I think they started off because it was only in the relatively recently, from the last year or so, that TikTok added carousel posts. So what they did was they created the animated short form with just, picture flipping in a video. And now they're back to carousel posts and doing some animations, but they're more like cutesy, small form, like I love you, kissing the screen, kind of shareable content type things. So I'm just kind of trying to solve that problem because I need to draw out I'm not on the final layout, I'm on the sketch layout, even though I have my sketch done in my book already. So that's why I kind of landed on that, because I'm looking at a way to get people interested in the comic, interested in, reading, and I am working on getting those ebooks released as well. So I can add that into the mix and maybe have that as my call to action at the end of those sets of reels. Also added into the mix is wanting to get, this is another thing, getting into things like Barnes and Noble, libraries, and stores. You have to have an ISBN. To have an ISBN, you have to have a publishing house, and there's really kind of two ways you can go at it. You can go form your own publishing house and do it that way, or you can do something like, I believe the service, one of them is called iUniverse or something like that. It's a self-publishing platform, but they will give you the ISBN, but the trade-off is that you and your book are published and registered under their publishing house. If that matters, if it doesn't. I mean, I'm kind of wanting to lean towards the first one, where it's something like Cozy Town Publishing or Cozy Town Books or something like that, where it is under, you know, the ownership of the regular business. But that, of course, you can buy ISBNs in bulk, but every single version you publish, so if you have one book and you do an EPUB, you do a physical copy, and you do a, well, physical copy in soft and hardback, and then a audiobook, you've got 4 different ISBNs you need for the same title. Yeah, well, the bookshop in Cozy Town is actually called Paw Prints. So I did that one already. I think it was in one of Momo's comics, where she was stopped by a bookshop, and I did the front of the bookshop as Paw Prints. And it's also the self-publishing label that she publishes her books under. So that's a little bit of what I've been thinking about and working on, and kind of all mixed together with that idea for the reels and promoting the comics and trying to get a little bit more readership. Oh, sorry. I woke you up again. I'm running the risk of chasing her off. All right, so I did. Since I'm gonna have a couple of, oh gosh, here we go with the tree. That's gonna be, I got this idea after I went back and saw the Scared Floof with Pudge. Hold on just a second. I'm going to read you the text. But yeah, so I mean, when I was doing, and I need to update my research on that too. So I need to, first of all, do that, and then figure that out, because I know there are certain you've got to get in a certain distributor before, I believe, libraries will even, or at least most, I think school libraries especially won't touch you if you're not in a certain distributor's network. And I can't remember the name of it. I have it written down somewhere. So I think, because I also did, in my initial wave of research, I was looking that up because I was, I started with the question, well, how do I get into, school libraries? How do I get into regular libraries? And so that kind of led me down the rabbit hole there. And so yeah, that's a pretty involved process. Yeah, I think it's, oh gosh, can't remember the name, but some libraries are only allowed to, or school libraries, like elementary school libraries, are only allowed to pull books from certain places or order books. At least that's what I remember reading. And again, my knowledge could be frightfully out of date there as well. I'm gonna have all the floofs dressed up, and maybe even Momo too. And I need to make sure I've got this cut for the right, because I'm gonna actually, this is gonna be a seamless swipe, one frame, and then another seamless swipe. You will definitely need to update your research if Baker and Taylor was one of the distributors. They are closing up shop and lots of libraries are struggling getting books now. I think, I talked to a lady at, oh man, and I'm gonna kick myself because I don't think I wrote down the notes. But I was talking to, she was from Macmillan Publishing, and I was talking to her at San Diego, and I believe she mentioned that one. And then there was another one, oh shoot, she said maybe not them because they're having struggles. At that point, I think they were going into bankruptcy or whatever it was. But yeah, that was back in July. And there was a second one, I think. And I recognized the name because I'd heard of it before. All right. So here is the text for this one. So the title is The Greatest Treat, and starts off with Pudge comic, by the way. Dear Diary, I know it's typical to stir up a fright, as this is the one and only Halloween night. So please excuse me if I take a pause and opt to pursue a different cause. You might even agree this can't be beat, for a smile is the greatest treat. So those first two lines are going to be up here. I know it's typical to stir up a fright, as this is the only one and only Halloween night. So please excuse me if I take a pause and opt to pursue a different cause. So that'll be these two right here. And then right here is going to be the last lines. You might even agree this can't be beat, for a smile is the greatest treat. And so he set up a sign that says free hugs and candy, and he's giving out pretty much only sweets and treats on Halloween night. He's giving out hugs and treats. Or maybe hugs and treats. Hugs, and treats. I think that's what the sign's gonna say. So, and then it'll be dressed up floofs and Momochi to everybody lining up for some hugs and treats. That's that. And but yeah, it was the scared floof in the costumes, in the one with Granny Bear and Boop at the end, watching from the wall. Did that real quick. Now let's get to drawing this one out. And I'm going to drag this line up. And I think I'll go back down here and I'll bring this down an opacity 2 because it'll help me draw out my frames. I'm also waiting for, because I launched my fair shop earlier this week and they have to go and do, I think it's 2 to 3 days, they said, for the approval on that. And fair is like the Etsy of wholesale. Small mom and pop retailers go on there, and that's how they kind of stock their shops and stuff and can reach independent artists. So it's hooked up to Shopify. I believe Shopify bought it a little bit ago, like over a year, maybe 2 years, not more than that. But initially, there were a couple of different, I kind of compare it to like DVD and DivX back in the day. They were fighting it out to see who would win over the, that market of video, that new emerging market at that point. And so those wholesale marketplaces were duking it out, and Fair turned out to be the one that came out on top. And I remember because I had signed up for the one that Shopify had kind of experimented with or started with, and on their own it didn't do well, and so what they ended up doing was just buying Fair, and then they hooked it up to Shopify. So at least I believe that's what happened. Enter and ungroup. There we go. I might need more room for my text here. We shall see. I'm looking at her in the, she's just so chunky. I just want to scratch. So I'm gonna have Scared Floof here. already did this and I erased them. And it's not quite this because I wanted room for my title. Yeah, so that's about right. I just want the approximation so I know where my... I'm probably gonna put text here, the title here for Instagram, and then I'll keep Dear Diary the first thing here and the second thing here. So I think that'll work out. And let me just drag this so I know about where I'm going to be putting my layout later. All right, so now let's do the title real quick. A little bit. Need to untangle this guy. There we go. I like it when it kind of creeps up on my neck. Yeah, much better. Jeez. Might need to redraw this a little bit. Assuming that that's the angle of his head, I probably need to have more ears showing. The email I just sent went through fine. I don't know if I want his paw to be there. I do know I want it to be up a little bit because he's looking, and I kind of want his head. Whoops! Ah! I didn't want to erase his head. I just wanted to tip it a little bit. And maybe not need to redraw it, but I may need to redraw it. Am I really gonna do this with his cape the whole time? Don't complain, just draw it. Time you waste complaining could be spent drawing, and then you'd be done before you even know it. Right? Right. It was so, it's not windy today, but it was so windy yesterday that the power kept on getting knocked out. And yeah, so it was a little difficult to get some things done. But it was so pretty though. And today is like a little bit cooler. So we're having just a kind of weather you just want to hit, you know, repeat on forever. It's just perfect. Should I do the floppy ear over the collar of his cape or under? I kind of feel like, well, maybe I just misdrew. And I already, there we go. Maybe that's a little bit better for his cape. That's a little bit of a tangent, though. I just redrew it the way I drew it before, didn't I? That's different. That's flaring it out a little bit. I might keep that, and let's redraw your cheek. There we go. And that can just be in shadow. I know there's going to be a little floof there, and they're going to be kind of nervously walking along this road where it's got a little bit of some spooky stuff over here. Let's do maybe some obscure the landscape back here, like maybe it's receding into bushes or something, and maybe I do need to show the road kind of disappearing behind Pudge, because it's going there as it is right here. Maybe I can just delete this. Trying to decide on my Halloween movie night while I'm waiting for the trick-or-treaters. I usually do Hocus Pocus, so I definitely probably will get that one queued up. It needs to be not something that I need to pay attention to, so something I've seen a lot with less focus required. And Hocus Pocus falls under that quite handily. I want to have a couple of pumpkins here. This is going to be a big spooter, and I'm going to have some. Let's just get this tree in here because I know he's going to command all of my attention for a little bit. Something like that, maybe this guy, and maybe a branch over here. I feel like he needs something because he's leaning this way, so we need balance this way. Maybe I just need to It's a little bit better. He seems a little bit more balanced. And I want to put this down a little bit in terms of point size. And I know I'll have to erase this, but I'm going to go ahead and just draw it in anyway. Feel like this is gone a bit too far. Let's bring this over here. And I'm going to hide this guy behind here. I think I'm going to fill in this guy back here. And maybe do another over here. Draw in some extra little bits and pieces. Smooth that out a bit. Or does that give it better personality? I don't know. I think I'll go ahead and group this whole tree just to make it easy on myself later. All right, so now I'm gonna do, I need to actually put the little bats hanging from the tree. I might just draw them as fill this in, and then I'll group it and do it that way. Oh. All right, let's pop back out. So I'm gonna have a nice big scooter over here, kind of crawling over the road. And he's gonna be blocking a little bit of this tree. He's gonna be one of those big ones that kind of flop in the lawn like that. Let me draw. What I need there. How did I draw the funny, or actually, I think the ones that are out this year even have like a witch's hat or something. The one I drew in Momo's yard was a little bit I kind of want to have him crawling up all over the... Should probably make the legs all do the... up. I feel like I just drew Charlotte. Oh gosh, because she did that. She did some talking where she had her front legs folded under her chin. Isn't there a second? I need to look up the spider Halloween decoration. Spider Halloween inflatable. Let me just look. Yeah, it's usually the head. Oh, all the legs are coming out from the head area on a lot of these. 6-foot LED. Where's the cute one? There's a cute one. Like that. That's kind of fun. There was a cute one with a witch's hat that was all over the place a few years ago. Kinda him, but that's more cartoony. These are all scary ones. And there's a black widow. How about cute Halloween spider? Those are all regular pictures. Inflatable. That is cute. Oh, that is really cute. I'm not seeing the one that was around. I guess with everything, those are definitely not cute. I like the one that's combined with a pumpkin. That's kind of fun. All scary spiders. Oh, that's big. Oh, he's bigger than a car. Wow, that's like something you put at a trade show or something. I've got the general idea. I'm gonna need to root this guy. Not like that. Not like that. He's kind of a dirty one now. I like the spider with the witch's hat. Group the witch's hat and make sure that I haven't watched The Worst Witch in a while. I could watch that again. Mildred Hubble. The original with Tim Curry, of course. I think that'll be all right for the head, or sorry, the body, and then this head part I need to fix up. Come on. I like having the face a little bit more high. Low. I like the dirty spider. And I can just pop him in front and draw and just color in front and then not have to worry about that. All right, let's deal with these pumpkins. Did I do teeth? Maybe one tooth. I need to do better eyes here. I need to do a better face. I like the mouth. put guts spilling out of his mouth. I think this is almost there, but maybe I need to turn. That is a little too wide. This is okay with the turn here. This guy, I think he needs to be squished a little. And we can maybe bring this down here. Maybe, and then this floof is going to be just keep my eyes straight ahead. They can't see me if I ignore them. Not sure. And then I'm going to draw this one. Let's group this one. I might rearrange them a little bit later. Maybe do He's just all fluffed out. He's running a little faster. Maybe he's gotten a little lift because he just doesn't want to. This is not his jam. He's gonna go as fast as he can. Like, oh God, no, not for me. And put some light little indications of first cover, tree cover, something. Here. All right. So this big elaborate double starter frame, so I can't get too down on myself for taking forever to draw it because it is 2 frames. It is 2 frames, so that's nice. That's done, and that should be okay. And I want to lay in the text right now. All right, so let's do this, and let's get sitting up straight first of all. Alright, I know it's typical to stir up a fright. Oh, hello. Oh, okay. Turning over it is. Oh shoot, wrong layer. Alright. I'm gonna move this up a little bit and move that up a little bit too, because I need a little bit more room over here. This is the one and only Halloween night. And we're going to center. This is the one and only Halloween night. That's a roughly center, sort of. Maybe I'll put a little kind of a transparent white background, I think, to float it above so you can still read it. I know it's typical to stir up a fright, as this is the one and only Halloween night. So please excuse me if I take a pause. I don't know if it should be so or but. And I know this is a prime opportunity for me to do PAW, paws, because he's a dog and he has paws. And opt to pursue a different cause. And opt to pursue a different cause. You might even agree this can't be beat. You might even agree this can't be. Or a smile. A much greater. Well, I have it, the title is The Greatest Treat, but maybe the beats wise it may be a much greater treat. I agree this can't be beat, for a smile is a much greater treat. Can you do a semicolon and four? It's basically stringing two sentences together, and it should be comma and, right? I need to actually review my grammar on that. No, maybe I'll just make a comma just to be. You might even agree this can't be beat, comma, for a smile is a much greater treat. And let's give it a little more room to breathe, and I will adjust this illustration here to fit. I have my elements of style. I also have writer's ink, but writer's ink is literally about 30 years old. It's got a 1995 or 94 date on it. Catherine, hello, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. As I finish my raspberry nectarine Waterloo. That was really pretty good. My favorites though, and I haven't seen, they didn't come back this year. I was so disappointed. Last summer, they had these mocktail flavors. They had a mint mojito. They had what do they call it? No Way Rosé or something. I didn't like that one as much, but the mojito one and then the pina colada one were really good. Blueberry lemon. Oh yes, I had that one. That one's good too. That one's more of a summer, I believe. Well, summer, spring, because I had that in a pack I got from Costco. But it's, of course, Costco changes all of their packs all the time. I think they're peach and... It's peach, guava berry right now, and then a nectarine. I don't know if it's that nectarine one, but... Alright, so here's the text. I'll have to put... Yeah, this one I like. He's just like... I'm going fast. Maybe I should do a trot, trot, trot. And this one is like, oh god. So Dear Diary, I know it's typical, oh shoot, I forgot. The closer to a diary entry is my little bracket and a dash, because he has to sign off all of his entries like that. All right. So now he's going to be making a, I can knock these out pretty quick, I think. An hour and a half it took me to draw that. A little slow. TikTok shop. Yeah, but I need to... Yeah, see, markets for makers, I don't know what you're doing, because that's one of the smaller markets I've gone to, and they have them a couple of times a year here. They just hit me with a couple emails and texts, actually. They put their market for the fall on the same weekend as Nutcracker Market, which is like an established market that's been here for years, like decades. And they did it last year, and I can't believe they did not get feedback that reflected, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that because everybody's going to Nutcracker Market. And I believe I did that one previous year, which was their first year, and I didn't realize Nutcracker was going on at the same time, and they were and the sales were not the best. But maybe sales were better for, I don't know, maybe there's enough of a need for a market that is not Nutcracker that's a good weekend, or has turned out to be one. I've seen only a little bit of marketing for them. They used to do a lot more marketing, like Instagram type marketing. Your head obviously needs to be smaller. This is not working. So let's get the proportions right, and then I can make it bigger. Need to edit this. I don't think the angle is quite right, because I want him to be kind of like kneeling down, like he's placing the pumpkin. So maybe I need to move that back. Yeah, that seems like it might be about right. And his other leg can be here. And then I can move this footer back maybe. This leg needs to go up. And all of this is going to be covered by his cape. That, because I decided to make life difficult for myself and draw him with this costume on for the entire comic. Oh, this foot. This foot. I'm going to focus on drawing this pumpkin for a minute. Just because the foot is just giving me all of the grief. One thing I do, that Trotter needs to behave. It does. It's just not behaving like I want him to. All right, so let's focus back over here. So I don't need all of that arm, because it's going behind the pumpkin, it's positioning the pumpkin. Let's start subtracting the lines that I don't need, so maybe I can see better once I'm not distracted by so many different lines. And then I can make better decisions here. This doesn't need to happen. I can totally erase the tippy toe there and leave that because that's his other leg. Well, now it's not looking as bad. Maybe I just need to maybe I just need to stop looking at it. Kind of like the floof in the first frame. It's like if I'm not looking at it, it can't hurt me. And if I run fast, it doubly can't hurt me because I can definitely run faster than it. What I definitely need to do is just fill this in. I'm going to be completely in shadow here. And that'll be shaded at least. That's done. Now we do save and this final frame here, and then I'll probably do this after stream because I've got to get a couple things done soon. Well, sooner rather than later. I don't need to put that on there. I just need to have him making a sign. So he's going to be holding it onto it like that, and he's going to be giving the final flourish. Although if he's right-handed, I want him facing this direction. Although it won't be the end of the world if I don't face him that direction. Yeah, I don't like that. Enough perky ears. And his nose, all of this is a... Alright, we're just going to redraw this because it's a little bit too long. I like how that shape is. And then I just do a little one there. Connect. Ask me how his tail is coming out of the... It just is magic. Did think about these things, I just chose not to address them. I need this foot, this foot, this foot. There we go. It needs to be standing in front of the other as it is in front of the other one. The back foot can't be placed in front of the front foot. There, it would not be the back foot anymore, it would be the front foot. And it would look weird. Big old check mark. Because he's a happy pup. He's done something. Boop. I approve of this idea. This idea is pug approved. Nine out of 10 pugs recommend this idea. Do you ever really hear those commercials anymore? Like the dentist, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this. Do you ever hear those anymore? I feel like I don't. I feel like the marketers know people have caught on. And they're like, yeah, we can't really do that anymore, guys. Tuft the grass a little smaller, or just let it just be tufty where it is. Nope. Alright, so we're going to save that, and I'm going to move this sketch out from this spot, and that leaves me the last little bit over here, which I need to bring down in transparency and group. Well, actually, let's just bring you down a little bit, because that'll give me room for the text, and I can also split that later. You might even agree this can't be beat, for a smile is a much greater treat. There we go. Much greater treat than stirring up a fright. Alright, so I'm going to group this, and we're going to 30% this, and then we're going to go over yonder to the correct layer, and we're going to hit save. And then that'll be this year's Halloween comic almost done. Just need to finish up the lines. It shouldn't take too long. Coloring on the first split frame will be a bit, and this last split frame, these two middles won't be too bad. But yeah, he's setting up his Pug Hugs and Treats station for Halloween. Yes, I love the jack-o'-lanterns, but you know, whenever it comes time for me to carve one and come up with an idea, my mind just goes blank, and I always default to the one with this one with the little curvy eyes, and it just, I gotta sit down and draw some faces or come up with some faces, and I just feel like I go blank, and then I see what everybody else has done, all of these incredible, you know, pumpkin designs, and I'm just like, damn it, why can't I think of something like that? Happy Spoopyween. Happy Halloween to you too, Sharon. I hope you guys have a great one. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my ending screen here. I'll get this finished and colored up for tonight and have it posted tomorrow as the Halloween post. And if I do carve a pumpkin, I'll be posting that on Instagram and doing that. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day as well. Thank you again so much for joining me, Sharon, Catherine, any lurkers that I've had in chat. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back on Tuesday with more drawing stuff. We'll see what's on the plan. I've got a couple of things I'm working on. And I'm working on ebooks as well to get those files done, hopefully very soon. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time.